Okay, but what if you could turn your entire reality into a miracle matrix? I'm going to tell you how. I'm so excited to dive in with you. Today we're talking about how to turn your reality into a miracle matrix. Good morning, happy Monday. Apologies for my tardiness. You know, it's a Monday. How are we feeling? So today we're talking about how to turn your reality into a miracle matrix. This is one of my most favorite subjects because this is really the foundation, right? We can't exactly manifest all the things that we want if we don't have our current state of being in a place where we feel good about it. I mean, that's just the truth of the matter. Like, if you don't feel good about where you are, it's going to be really hard to manifest something that feels amazing, that feels like abundance, that feels like freedom. So we're going to go over the foundational basics of creating a miracle matrix. And don't you just love that word? Miracle matrix. My private coaching was branded as miracle matrix for a long time. And I just vibe with it because you feel it, right? So think about your being, your spiritual being. You are projecting what is called a toroidal field all the time. Your toroidal field is essentially filtering your reality. It filters what you see. It filters how you feel. It filters your experience of things. And in my world, we call this your snow globe. So you have an energetic field that's just being projected all the time. And that energetic field is being projected whether you're trying to project it or you're not trying to project it. Whether you're intentionally infusing good stuff into it or you are just, flying by the seat of your pants and just letting life whip you around. Your toroidal field is there. When we start getting intentional about it, that's when we start to be able to shift our experience of reality. So in my world, we call this your snow globe. You've probably heard me say this on the show before. Now you're going to get the full definition of what it means. If you can think about you're floating through life as the center of your world, you can't get out of that. And if you've been in my world for more than a year, you've heard me say this 1,800 times. You cannot get out of being the center of your own snow globe. You are the center of your world. So all of those times where your mama was like, you just think the world revolves around you. Yeah. Because here's the thing, even when you try to do something for the sake of others, you're doing something for the sake of others because it feels good to you. So you can't get out of your own center, nor do you want to. In fact, if you try to get out of your own center, that's when you're going to end up with a very distorted reality. So first and foremost, we have to take ownership, radical self-ownership over my snow globe, because I am the one who is projecting this energetic field all around me. And this is why no two people have the same experience of life. Even if you grew up together, even if you live together currently, you are both experiencing entirely different experiences of reality. Now, let me tell you, when I really started understanding this, everything started clicking and making sense. Because until this point where you awaken that this is your world, like for you, it's your world. For your husband, it's his world. For your mom, it's her world. For your best friend, it's her world. Once this really clicked for me and I started understanding this is my snow globe to take ownership over. Whatever I feel, whatever I experience, whatever I am creating, whatever I'm walking into, whatever I'm thinking is mine. And that moment is the moment where you take full ownership over your reality. Because that means that if I'm thinking something about someone else, like if I'm thinking, oh, she's thinking this, that's me thinking that. Regardless if that person is actually thinking that or not, does not matter because it's my experience that I'm projecting. So once you take radical self-ownership over your own snow globe, that is the moment that you have the ability to create something different as you see fit. Because before we take ownership, we're not owning it. I mean, that's pretty simplified, isn't it? We're not owning it. And if you don't own it, then you've thrown that power to someone else. So in example, if I say like, everything would be amazing if so-and-so would just do this. It's like, well, then you have no power, period. So you have to start flipping it and saying, okay, why do I need that person to be any different? Oh, now you get somewhere. So first step is taking radical ownership. You are the center of your snow globe and you can't get out of that. So you may as well own it. You with me on this? Click in the comments. So once you start owning it, this is when the magic starts turning on, because now you understand that everything I'm experiencing, everything I'm seeing, everything I'm projecting, everything I've created is a product of me. I'm the center of the snow globe, projecting the toroidal field, everything I experience. So I want to clarify here, because I think it gets a little confusing when it's like, well, you know, this and this happened. You're saying I created that? Not really. I'm not really saying like you create war in the world or you create, you know, the neighbors arguing or you create a car accident. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that your experience of it is yours. And what will happen is that your energetic frequency will show you you. So it's going to show you like if something happens in front of you, the feeling it gives you. It's showing you this is matching that feeling. And that is your experience of that. So when we start to take ownership for our experience, how I see things, how I feel about things, that is the part that's going to start shifting. And then you're going to start shifting into a different kind of experience of reality, the miracle matrix, as we say. So in a nutshell, if I was raised to believe that the world is a scary place, that there is a lot of bad things happening out there, that you have to protect yourself, you are going to view perspectively everything that happens from a perspective of danger and fear. And so your experience of your snow globe is going to be like, that's dangerous, that's scary, that's blah, 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 whatever it is. So the person right next to you might have been raised in an environment that said, the world is so magical. Things are incredible. It's so beautiful. And so you and that other person could be looking at the exact same thing, and you're going to have two totally different experiences of it. Does that make sense? So life is lifing. We're creating our screen of life all the time, but what you're seeing and how you're experiencing it is yours. And that's where we have the capability to start shifting and changing. Because as you shift and change, your experience of everything around you will shift and change. And once that starts happening, now you're going to start coming into a level of power within yourself to be able to go after the things that you want, to create what you want, to take the action steps from a place of power rather than a place of intimidation where you're like, I don't know, it's kind of scary, I shouldn't really do that. And that's when we start really getting some momentum in life, because if you can heal, and this is the pathway, you've got to heal the parts of you that are saying, I can't. You got to heal the parts of you that get a ping of fear in your body whenever you think about something or whenever you see something. You've got to heal those parts of you, because those parts of you are the parts that are reflecting, telling you stay small, stay inside your little tiny bubble that you've created. Don't go out there. Don't do something in this world because it's dangerous. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's like a broad example, but that makes sense, right? So once you start taking radical ownership, there's this moment where you kind of just start getting curious. And this is where you need to live. Curiosity is where you've got to live, because when we are not in curiosity, we're in judgment. We're in judgment. We are making assessments on people, on what's happening, on all of these things. And it's a very natural human thing to do, okay? But it is much more productive to get curious. Like if someone does something and you don't approve of it, you know, you're like, I can't believe she did that. Like, what is her problem? Blah, right? Like when we get into that sort of disempowered, wounded feminine state where we're judging somebody else, instead of that, get curious. I wonder what's happening. Like, I wonder what's going on with her that was the thought. Like, what do you think is happening? And then take it a step further. You go, why do I care? Now, you might genuinely care because you're an amazing human. Cool. But like, where's the feeling coming from? So you start to get curious, and curiosity will always lead you to awareness of the self, which is where the magic is. Okay. So then once you're taking ownership of your perspective, your projection, your reality. So I'm going to give you another really practical example of this, because this is going to show up for you. If you're in self-awareness today, this is going to show up for you. You're going to see it. Okay. The moment that you are projecting onto someone else. Now, I know you guys are amazing humans, but we're human and you do this. Okay. The moment that you catch yourself judging someone else's actions or thinking about what they should be doing, that moment, be it your husband, your best friend, your kid, whatever, the moment that you have a downshift in energy. Now, this is that self-awareness piece. Downshift in energy is like it contracts and goes down. It's a feeling of dropping from the heart into the belly. It's like that. A downshift in energy is showing a non-truth, always. So whenever you're judging someone else's actions, or you're projecting onto them in some way, saying they should be different, they should this, blah, 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 whatever, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel that downshift in energy. It's not going to feel powerful in terms of like joy, expansion. It's going to feel like that ego feeling. Ego is a very interesting energy, and it's very distinct. And once you start being able to recognize ego energy, that's going to be a really huge step in your self-ownership and in your ability to create your reality, because the ego is like, it's tricky. It feels like turbo fuel in the moment. Like, have you ever, you've ever had a shower fight? You guys know shower fights. Shower fights are when you're arguing with someone in your head, hypothetically. You guys know that feeling. That is the epitome of ego, where you feel that rush of energy, and it feels like power in the moment, but it's like turbo fuel. It's a whole lot of energy all at once, and then it dies. And it's not sustainable, and it always puts you in a worse situation later. So that is ego energy. And you want to always just be on the awareness of ego energy, because ego will lead you straight into a ditch. So we're waking up, we're taking that radical self-ownership. When you catch yourself in that judgment state, when you catch yourself projecting onto someone else, you want to pause for a second and you want to go, where's this coming from? Why do I need them to be different? What is this hitting on for me? And when you start really getting into that level of self-awareness, that is when you start to be able to shift. Stick with me here, because this is the moment. This is when you're able to start shifting the energy that's projecting your toroidal field, because you found something. When your energy gets hit, we call this in the normal world triggers. When you get triggered, when you feel a raise up, like that ego energy, or you feel a downshift of that energy contracting, you've found something. You found something that has been unconsciously creating your reality. And when you can get conscious about the unconscious, oh, holy everything, now you're in charge. Now that's where you start to do the healing work. That's where you start to get curious about it. You're like, what is this? Why do I feel this? Why does it make me angry? Why does it make me upset? Why? I'm going to really hit this for somebody right now. Why do I feel like I need to control this situation? Why do I feel like I need to control this person? That is going to lead you to the root of something that has been unconsciously creating your life not in a powerful way. Because anytime that we feel like we have to control something, we're operating out of fear. And fear is the realm of the ego. Think about it. If you're in trust, do you need to control? Not a thing. Don't need to control anybody, do I? Because I am in full trust of what's happening. But if I need to control, I got it. How many times I've said to my clients in the past, you got to get your nails out of it. If I feel like I have to control something, I am in deep fear that it's not going to go the way I want it to go. Oh, now you're hitting on something. So we have to get real curious when things like start paying attention to yourself and to your snow globe. When you see something that happens in your snow globe and it doesn't feel good, get curious about it. When you see something you love in your snow globe, that is also a reflection of you. How beautiful. When you stop to notice the sunsets, like when it really strikes you, that's you. Like that's showing you the God in you. But there's so many people, and it blows my mind. I'll tell you guys a story real quick. There's so many people who don't even see it. There's so many people who don't see the sunsets. They're there, they just don't see them. Or there's so many people who don't even notice the moon. I'm like, how can you not just marvel at the moon? Granted, I'm an extreme case here, like love affair with the moon. But there was one time the kids and Robert and I were in Wilmington and we were at this rooftop bar and I knew it was a full moon and we're up high. And so I was like, oh, we're staying until the moon rises because I'm going to see that moon. The moon started to come up. I don't know if you guys know this or not. It depends on how moon obsessed you are. When the moon comes up over the horizon, it is a deep reddish orange color. Like it is like a fireball rising up. If you've ever seen the moon come up over the ocean, it's a deep, and it's huge when it's a full moon. I was like, oh, I'm obsessed, right? So it's like 10 o'clock at night. The kids usually go to bed at 9. And I'm like, you guys can go. I'm staying. I am looking for the moon. So as the moon starts to come up, this is me. Like, if you ever see me out in public, don't be shocked, okay? I am on a rooftop, at a rooftop restaurant, and I have chairs pulled to the side of the building where the moon is coming up, and I'm standing on the chairs so that I can see just another couple of feet when the moon comes up over, well, it was buildings because, you know, we're in a city, but it was coming up through the buildings. And I looked around. Because obviously, like, I look like the crazy person, but whatever. We live in magic and miracles over here. I looked around. No one else is looking for the moon. And I'm just like, how? How can you not care about the moon? Anyway, it's an example of that there's magic existing all around us. There is beauty existing all around us. But if your snow globe is so bogged up with practicality and worry and fear and shoulds and what I have to do, and that is all you can see. Or if it's bogged up with what other people are going to think about me and I need to be normal and whatever, you're gonna miss the magic that's there. So when you start shifting your snow globe, when you start moving out all that mucky energy that's kept you trapped in that ego matrix, and you start doing that healing work, it's gonna shift you into the miracle matrix because now you're gonna get to see your divinity. You feel me on that? Healing work is like taking off 18 trench coats And every trench coat you take off, it's going to expose more of your light. It's going to expose more of the God in you. It's going to expose your divinity. And when your divinity is the only thing being reflected back to you, that is the miracle matrix. Y'all feel me on this? The healing work is the pathway. Is it tough sometimes? Yeah, it is. But you know it's a whole lot more tough? Looping in the exact same reality of your unconscious muck, never wondering what is actually happening here. And repeating the same. How many people do you know that have lived the exact same year for 50 years? Just never got conscious about it. Just wrote it off. This is just how life is. I don't know about you, but that is unacceptable to me. It is unacceptable to me to settle into mediocrity and to say that's just how life is. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I will not do this. So everything is within your control. Speak to your ego right now. It is within your control. You're at the helm, but you can't control outside things. You don't control people. You don't control the circumstances of life. You don't control events outside of you. You control your experience of them. And as you do that healing work, your experience of what it is that you have on a day-to-day basis is going to start shifting from fear, scarcity, survival, lack at the extremes to the life is it's all right, blah, 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 to, oh my God, life is a freaking miracle. I can't believe that the seeds that I plant in the ground just know what to do and it grew a whole tomato. Like, you're going to shift into seeing the miracles around you. And when you get into that miracle frequency, oh, the synchronicities, oh, the magic that starts happening. That is the frequency where you end up in the right place at the right time. You receive the right idea and it unfolds in a way that will completely blow your mind. Not because the world changed, because you changed. Click, click. Come on. This is exciting. You guys know, if you've been watching for a couple of weeks now, I've been relaunching my program, Soulpreneur Coding. And in that program, I talk about this one thing, and I'm going to share it with you because if you can get this, it's really, really going to make a big shift for you. When you shift your perspective, it's not just like a feel-good thing. It's not just like, oh, I feel better now. I shift my perspective. Like, oh, yeah, this is working for me, not against me. God. It's that when you truly shift your perspective, you are quite literally shifting vibrational frequencies of reality. So without going too quantum realm here, when you truly shift your perspective, and I'm talking like an actual shift, like you feel that shift, not just like a willpower, I'm hoping I shifted, like an actual shift. You are existing in one version of reality. When you shift your perspective, it puts you in a different vibrational reality. Things might physically look the same, but everything has shifted in terms of what you can now see, what you're now available for, and what you can now run into. Meaning, like, say there was an opportunity with a person. We'll go love life. Say there was a man or a woman or whatever you're into who is that person. It's that person, like, where you're just like, that person. You know what I mean? When you're here on this frequency and say you've had these beliefs that's like, all men or women are just want one thing. Like, so I'm going to speak personally to mine. I had a deep-rooted subconscious belief that men are not safe. They're just not safe. You can't relax into them. You can't trust them to take care of things. Like, they're not safe. Okay? My husband now is the most incredible man. And one of the first conversations he and I had was him talking about you're safe. And it was something stupid. It was like I misspelled something. And I was like, oh, and I corrected myself. And he was like, he just laughed. He's like, you're safe. And that really stood out to me. Okay. And he takes care of things that I don't even think about. Like we go on a road trip and we're halfway down and I'm like, oh my God, we forgot the. He's like, I got it. Like, that's my man. Okay. This reality I was existing in that said men aren't safe. Men, you can't trust them. You can't trust them to take care of things. You have to do it yourself, blah, 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 all of that stuff. Do you think he lived in that world? Do you think that I would have even been available to see him? We met on Bumble, by the way. For those of you who are new to my world, we'll tell that story another day. But say I started a conversation with him and I was still in this world. Everything that he would say to me, I would view as untrustworthy, as dangerous. Wouldn't even matter what he would say. That's how I would view it if that is the projection I'm putting in my snow globe. I healed. I healed before I met Robert. And I started doing that work, figuring out, why do I feel like men are unsafe? Why am I projecting this onto all men? You guys with me? Clicking for you? Why am I projecting that all men are untrustworthy? Where is this coming from? I did that healing work. And as I did that healing work, it shifted me into the frequency where Robert existed. Robert didn't exist in a frequency that was like, all men are untrustworthy, they're dangerous, blah, 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 all of that. I could have met him, I would have written him off. You feel me on this? But because I did that work, when I met him, I was available for him. And so in our conversations, I still have my natural healthy skepticism. Okay, it's the internet after all. But I was available to have a beautiful conversation with him, to have an actual conversation where I got to know him and he got to know me. And I wasn't putting up this massive guard, calling him dangerous, calling him untrustworthy, all of that stuff, because I had done the healing work within me to be able to trust myself, to be able to be in that reality where I could relax into a man. You guys feel me on this? Your snow globe is determining everything in your experience. And all of it is just a projection of you. It's a projection of your unconscious energy. It's a projection of the things that you believe to be true. It's a projection of how you feel, all of it, all the time. So when you start to do the healing work, what you're actually doing is getting conscious about yourself. And when you shift that perspective on a very deep visceral level, this is why this work is so profound, you're going to start to see a different world. It's a miracle matrix. It's magic. We call it magic. This is how it works. And then from there, and I'm just going to say this last piece, and then we will wrap this amazing live session today. From there, as you heal those parts of you that have felt unworthy, unloved, untrustworthy, all of that, then you are able to take action from a place of gratitude, like just gratitude for your life, gratitude for who you are, gratitude for what's happening. And when you take action from gratitude, that's when you start accelerating the miracles in your life. Because when you take action from the flip side of it, when you take action from fear, you take action to try to fix something you think has gone wrong in your life, that's that down spiral. It's just going to take you more and more into that fear. It's going to take you more and more into the fixing of things. But when you get to that space where it's like the neutralized state, like I'm worthy because I'm worthy, period. That's it. And you start to have that developed love for yourself, that developed trust, that developed acceptance. From there, you are able to move into gratitude. And I say that because I've had a very profound understanding around this. When you are deep in unworthiness, gratitude, like trying to be in gratitude, can tend to make you feel guilty because you feel like you don't deserve it. Anything good in your life, you feel like you don't deserve it if you're sitting in the pit of unworthiness. Do you feel me on that? So you have to heal your worthiness. You have to heal the feeling you have about your worthiness, because the truth of the matter is that you're worthy, period. You were born that way. But we have our unconscious filters that are projecting our reality. And so that's what we have to start shifting our perspective on. We have to do that healing work. Once you can get to the foundation of worthy, from there, you can be in gratitude really easily. And when you're taking action because you're grateful, think about that. Taking action because you're grateful for what is versus taking action because you fear and you feel like you need to fix what is. Those are two totally different worlds, aren't they? Think about the miracles you're going to create in taking action from gratitude. Think about what you create in taking action from fear. You see, you just got to get conscious about it. You got to get conscious about it. You got to do the work. You got to do the work to heal. You got to prioritize you above everything, because if you don't, you are going to put yourself into a pit, and then you're going to wonder what happened, what went wrong, what's wrong with me. Don't do that. We got to bring it back home, bring it back to love, bring it back to acceptance, bring it back to worthiness, bring it back to gratitude. And from there, that's how we create the miracle matrix. Bada bing, bada boom. Thank you all who are on here live today. If this resonated with you, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit it right now while you're watching, because it really communicates to our lovely best friend, the algorithm, that we are creating really good stuff here. If it resonated, please share it. Share it with a friend. If you want to come into my world more deeply, if you want to start doing this healing work with me, feel free to reach out to me directly, and we'll have a conversation about what's going on with you, where you're at, and what the best route is for you, and we'll get you started on this miracle matrix pathway. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you on Wednesday for another episode of The Morning Show.